morning. It's Beth Grant with the American Diabetes Association, and I have a great co-host with me today.
Thank you. Hi, my name is Alyssa Freeman. I'm the office manager with the American Diabetes Association, and I am covering for Carol Dixon today, and it's an honor to be able to do this today and share some great information with you guys.
I'm so happy that you're here with us. Thank you for joining us. Alyssa has this fantastic personality that really is fun to work with. So we're going to have a good time today.
Yes.
Thank you for joining us. This is the May episode of Stop Diabetes Insight. And again, we just want to thank Jim too for producing this for the American Diabetes Association. And we so appreciate all that he does for us so that we can continue to get our message and our messaging out to Indiana. So thanks, guys. Let's talk about some events that are coming up. So real quick, I've just put up a slide of upcoming events. First and foremost, June is a really busy month for us. We are heading into tour season. That's on June 4th. Then June 5th through the 11th is our camp, John Warville. August 27th, Step Out Walk is scheduled, which is different from, it's usually in September. So, we're pushing it up a little earlier. So let's start talking about getting teams ready for Step Out Walk. In November, it's American Diabetes Month. So we'll have more information coming about all of the activities that we'll do for that month also. Then November 7th is the J.K. Lilly Gala. This is our formal event. There are a lot of corporations and donors that come to this event. It's just a really fantastic time. And we have a theme. It is a Mardi Gras theme. So it'll be really fun again this year. And November 15th is National Healthy Lunch Day. So again, just like the Get Fit, Don't Sit Day, we'll have more information upcoming about the National Healthy Lunch Day. So go ahead and mark it on your calendars.
Absolutely. And while we're on the subject of important dates, I just want to remind you guys that if anyone is interested in volunteering for the Tour de Cure, which again is on June 4th, you still have an opportunity to do so. All you have to do is contact me. Again, my email address is afreeman@diabetes.org. And there's an interest form that you can fill out to tell us your interests and the timing that you'll be able to volunteer with us. And we'll be happy to get in contact with you.
So can you mention some of the specific areas that they could volunteer for?
Yes. So we need a wide variety. So from helping with the event setup on June 3rd, as well as the morning of June 4th, we need help, as well as doing registration, volunteer check-in, helping with our Red Rider tents as well, lunch tents. We need a variety of help. So literally from registration to the finish line, we are in need of volunteers to make this a great day for our riders.
Very good.
Yes.
And you can come out as just a one-person show, or if you have a team of volunteers, that too. We can keep your team together depending on what area.
Absolutely.
And then times. Are there specific time slots that they...
You have the opportunity to kind of tell us a little bit about what you're able to do, but we do ask that there's a minimum of at least 3 hours, so that way we can get as much help as needed. And then also, guys, that there is lunch provided for all of our volunteers, and then you'll also get a volunteer t-shirt, which is really neat.
That's very good.
So it's a great experience. So I hope some of you can help out. And again, it's afreeman@diabetes.org.
Very good. We appreciate all of the help that we get for all of our events. It cannot happen without our volunteers.
Absolutely.
So,
they are very essential.
We are still you can still register for tour. You can register for tour. Check out the website. It's diabetes.org/IndyTour. And if you have any questions, there's an email on there, Rob Nagel. It's rnagel@diabetes.org. And you can ask any questions, or you can call the office. No question is silly. There's always questions about the different routes, or do I really have to be there at 6 a.m.? Those types of things. So, it's in June, so it could get really, really hot later in the day. But there are also activities throughout the entire day. The entire pagoda area is open. We have team tents. We have tents from our sponsors, and we'll have kind of a health and wellness area. So we also knew this year we have the Pacers fan van coming during that time. So, there will be something for everybody. So, if you have one member of your family is riding and, your husband or wife and the kids want to come along too and support them, you can sit in the bleachers and make it a whole day. Tailgate with us, we say too. So bring your cooler and have some fun.
Yeah.
And we look forward to seeing you again June 4th. Diabetes.org/Indie Tour. A little bit more about camp too. Camp registration, we still do have some spots available. I think it was to close a few weeks ago, but we do still have availability. So check out the website there, diabetes.org/ADA Camp John Warville, and you can go ahead and fill out some information. And then financial aid.
Yes, of course. If financial aid is of issue, please contact Janetta Sykes. That's J Sykes at diabetes.org. She can talk to you a little bit about what the financial aid, the process, but we do have financial aid available to our campers as well.
Yes. So very good. That whole process is coming along, and we're really excited about it. It's always one of the best programs that, we have, because it's enriching the lives of children that are living with diabetes, and they may or may not know anybody in their school that has diabetes. So to be amongst peers who are living with the day-to-day, living with diabetes, it's just a really, really good time for them, for their morale, to build friendships for their life. We have campers who come back as CITs, counselors in training, and then maybe even come back as med staff. So they come to camp for, years and years, and just continue that relationship through college with all of their friends that they've made. So, real quick, our social media, we are posting events, and, there may be something that comes up through the week that we're adding a promo, or we're letting you know what's going on. So, you can find us on Facebook and Twitter and on Instagram. Our office link actually for everything is AM Diabetes IN. You can find us on Facebook, Twitter, and on Instagram with that link. And then you'll also be able to find other information about our events. So let's go ahead and start talking about today. We're moving into talking a little bit about the history of diabetes.
Absolutely. And Beth, diabetes, the history of diabetes dates back as far as going back towards 1552 BC, when an Egyptian physician documented frequent urination as a symptom of a mysterious disease that also caused emaciation. And then it even goes back towards the 1st through 11th centuries AD, when a Greek physician used the phrase, the melting down of flesh and limbs into urine, to describe diabetes, which sounds kind of scary for that time.
Yes, it does.
But then you also had that Chinese and Indian scholars noted that urine of people with diabetes was terribly sweet, and then they diagnosed this disease as by water tasters. And then they used the word mellitus, meaning honey, that was added to the name diabetes. But then when you fast forward into the 1800s, scientists then began to develop a chemical test to detect the presence of sugar in urine. So, you can tell that over the years there's been a lot of developments.
Exactly. So all of that sweet we know now is the glucose that is in your body. So it's just amazing how technology, even now and today, how technology is changing. So some of the early treatment that they used to use, they would advise patients to eat extra large quantities of sugar, which we all know now is not a good idea, or starvation diets, because they weren't really sure how to combat that. So they just decided just don't eat. Or whiskey mixed with coffee. It would be a clear soup, and they would take it every 2 hours from 7 a.m. to 7 p.m. After 5 days, then they would go on a strict diet. It says a lot of type 1 patients died because of that, but type 2 patients actually had decent results. So, again, the technology of kind of the back and forth, let's just try this and go for it.
And absolutely. And then when you think about in 1897 what that life expectancy would have been, for example, a 10-year-old back then diagnosed with type 1 diabetes, the life expectancy would be a year, which is terribly sad. counteracting that, a 50-year-old diagnosed with type 2 diabetes had 8 more years, and that's if they were lucky.
Right.
So times have definitely changed since then. So new discoveries show promise and provide some hope. So then we get to 1889 when they performed research in a dog that revealed diabetes occurred when the pancreas was removed. And then in 1921, insulin was discovered by Frederick Banting and a med student, Charles Best. The dog with the pancreas removed was successfully treated, and which is great to hear.
Yes, that's fantastic.
And then James Cullop and J.R. McLeod helped Dr. Banting and Dr. Best develop it for humans. So later on, a Belgian man proposed the name insulin for the pancreatic substance.
That's fantastic.
Yeah.
So we will actually take a really quick break, and we'll come back and talk a little bit more about the discoveries of the histories of diabetes.
You know, when Margaret and I decided to sell the old estate here, we had only one choice in signage: Logan Street signs and banners. Conveniently not located on Logan Street anymore, but rather located on 10th Street on the south side of Noblesville. Well, we sold the old beauty, and we were able to buy this wonderful estate. And we had so much money left over, I was able to buy this beautiful 1968 Eldorado Cadillac for Margaret. Only 472,000 miles. Margaret loves it because it's got those big seats and that heavy-duty suspension to support her svelte frame. Next time you're looking for signs or banners, call old Jim at Logan Street Signs and Banners, 773-7200. Conveniently not located on Logan Street anymore.
Hi, welcome back, and thank you. We are talking about the history of diabetes today. We've just gone over a little bit of the early detection, and now we're talking about treatment discovery. So on our slide now, we have some pictures of some children who, the before and after pictures, before insulin and then after insulin, which it's amazing to see, the difference in their bodies and some of the methods that were used prior to actually injecting insulin and the positive effects that you can see, obviously, from the photos of the children, a 3-year-old before and after and an 11-year-old before and after. We don't have a photo of the 14-year-old Leonard, but we have a little bit of notes there that actually after using insulin, he lived for 13 years successfully, and actually his cause of death at the age of 27 was pneumonia. Wow. So, he was living successfully using insulin with type 1.
And then in 1945, Drs. Al and Helen Freed developed the first glucose diagnostic urine test strips at Miles Laboratory in Elkhart, Indiana. Fun little fact, I'm actually from Elkhart, so this is kind of a great thing for us. And I actually had 3 generations of family that actually worked at Miles, so this is kind of close to home for me. Helen still lives in the area, and she spoke to our campers actually in 2015, and at age 90, she's still as active as ever.
Yes, I mean, and you can see from that photo, she was amazing, and the campers and the CITs there in that other photo really enjoyed meeting her. She was really fantastic. So some other types of, technology, and people are familiar with the insulin pump. Today, in 1963, the first insulin pump was invented, and you see a photo of it right here. It was huge. Yeah. You had to wear it on your back like a backpack. And in 1965, the first test strips for testing blood glucose were manufactured, and the strips were designed primarily for doctors' offices. So not the everyday testing that we are used to today. And in 1969, the first portable blood glucose meter was created.
And then when you start really talking about the discovery, 1967, the previous mixture of pig and cow insulin was changed to isolate pure pig or cow insulin. In the 1970s, researchers looked at producing insulin that more closely mimicked the body's natural insulin process. In 83, the first biosynthetic human insulin is introduced. And then in 1986, the insulin pen delivery system is introduced into the U.S. It's pretty neat.
I know, and that sounds crazy that was 1986.
Absolutely.
So, there's amazing technologies that even people that we know today are living with, and what they have lived through too themselves.
Yes.
So, there are many types of the synthetic, the human-like insulins that are available today. So, just some really quick types. There's a rapid-acting, there's a short-acting, an intermediate or long-acting insulin, and then there is a long-acting insulin. So, just depending on, that's why we always talk about it's so important to have such a good relationship with your physician to know what works best for you and what you need at what points in the day, in your journey. Just what works best for your body. Everybody's body is an individual and works differently and processes insulin differently too. So
absolutely. And when you're thinking of diabetes today and the changes that have been made, researchers are actually working on an insulin patch at the moment, which is really exciting. It's really cool how research has changed. And then there's also an inhaled insulin that's actually already available but not yet widely used. Good news is deaths due to diabetes complications like cardiovascular disease are declining. So that's very good news.
That's a celebration.
Then there's genetic engineering that's being used to manipulate cells so they secrete insulin. And then there's also a sensor computing pump system that mimics the insulin response of the normal pancreas that's being developed to function as an artificial pancreas. So technology has really made way for some great success and great hope.
Right. And just to make living with diabetes easier.
Absolutely.
That patch is fantastic.
Yes.
Okay, so there are, other treatments coming in the future. So pills, they're developing an insulin pill, would require novel delivery technology for a pill coating to protect the insulin from being degraded by stomach enzymes. So there's a lot that has to go into, this development. Glucose monitoring via the cloud, using a cellular device, a glucometer, which uploads your blood glucose automatically by using cloud technology. It's available now, but improvements are coming. So again, just using that technology and making it easier to, just take care of yourself day to day. Continuous glucose monitoring and improvements continue. Technology and contact lenses and tattoos for monitoring blood glucose are a possibility. So high glucose, the contact would turn purple. Low glucose, it would turn red. Normal glucose, it would turn green. So for a tattoo, though, low glucose, a tattoo would be highly fluorescent, and high glucose, the fluorescent beads would be replaced by glucose, and the tattoo would fade. So, all of these just kind of topical methods then to also help just be able to identify when your glucose is going high or when it's going low.
Absolutely. And, until there is a cure, the ADA, our mission remains steadfast. Right now, our research investments focus on sparking the next big discovery through innovative high-impact projects that encourage scientists to take calculated risks that can yield high results. Since 1952, the ADA has invested more than $735 million in 4,500 projects in all diabetes topics and related conditions, which is great. This includes core research, collaborative target research, and then there's also the Pathway to Stop Diabetes, which is designed to radically transform research. It invests in people and not products, which means it funds brilliant scientists and allows them to discover their own solutions, their own way to find things that will help create a cure. But more something that we should really know is that locally there are 6 researchers in Indiana, which means that the funding stays local.
Right.
So that's very important to know, and I'm glad to hear that.
Yeah, that's really nice to know that, when you are donating to the ADA, taking part in our activities, and we always talk about finding a cure.
Absolutely.
Well, that research money is staying local when you're donating to tour, to walk, at gala, and local with research and with programming.
Yes.
Our camp is, definitely one program where that money is staying local. So, talking just a little bit more about our research, 99% of our funded researchers remain dedicated to diabetes science 5 years after their grant has completed. So they continue their research. Dollars that are donated to the association and invested in diabetes research leads to more money coming in addition to research funding, and takes things to the next level. And innovative discoveries continue to move on. 4 patent applications are submitted annually, on average, by associated funded scientists. So the research that they are doing is leading them to, some kind of a new technology or a drug or a, research initiative that they're leading to a patent. So that's pretty fantastic. I think that's amazing news.
Absolutely.
There are new technologies and new research going on all the time, and we continue to, try to get that information out. And the best way to learn is just follow us on Facebook and Twitter. And, as those research stories come out, and when the scientists come up with amazing new things, then we will share that information with you. So the ADA is a really good source for not only just learning to live with diabetes, but also learning the facts from history, what led us to this point, but technology in our future. Where are we going? We hope one day to find that cure for diabetes, but until then, to invest in people too that are helping you live with diabetes in a more manageable way. So thank you guys for sitting with us today, and I really appreciate Alyssa coming on. We had a great time as always, and we will see you again in June.